that we are rebuilding our military, unleashing American energy dominance, making sure that there isn't a $4.5 trillion tax increase on the American people at the end of this year, and obviously securing our border. Those are the priorities that we believe need to be addressed, and those are the discussions that we've been having in our conference about the best way to achieve that. Obviously, we are hopeful that this week we can get a budget resolution on the floor that will unlock the process that will enable us to achieve and to reach those goals. And so we are continuing to move forward with that. And of course, we expect the Democrats to resist us at every turn. But unfortunately for them, when they talk about fighting and fighting and fighting, what they are fighting obviously against, and or for, I should say, is a $4.5 trillion tax increase on the American people at the end of the year. That's what's at stake in this discussion. And what that means, if you put it into kind of just everyday terms, there are literally of those who make less than $400,000 a year, there would be a $2.6 trillion tax increase on those wage earners and a $600 billion tax increase on small businesses. That's what's in stake in this conversation. So say, for example, if you're a working family in this country with kids, if we don't extend the existing tax relief by the end of this year, then you will see the child tax credit go from a $2,000 child tax credit to a $1,000 child tax credit. So every family in this country who has children would face per child a $1,000 tax increase. And if you look at the standard deduction, now 91% of the people in this country claim the standard deduction. Well, if we don't take action by the end of this year to extend the existing tax policy, you would see that standard deduction cut almost in half. So from about $30,000 to about half that, again, hitting middle-income families. That's what we are talking about, and that's what we are doing in this process, is working on an agenda that will be good for the American people, will bring down the cost of energy, that will allow them to keep more of what they earn, that will keep the country safe and secure for future generations, and make sure that our southern border is secure. And so all the associated problems that we've had for the past 4 years in the Biden administration are done away with. This president has made huge progress on that front already. We want to be good partners in working with him to achieve these objectives on behalf of the American people. Next up, Senator Barrasso.
So all the things that Leader Thune talked about are things that I heard about this weekend all around the state of Wyoming. We use a lot of hunting phrases in Wyoming, one of which is open season. And for the last 4 years with the Democrats, it was open season on high taxes and on reckless spending. And that needs to end, and it's going to end right now. And now what the Democrats want to do, even worse, is have taxes go up by $4 trillion. It would be the largest tax increase in the history of America, and Republicans are here standing resolved to not allow that to happen. The American people know, and certainly Republicans and all of us know what the American people want. They want things to be affordable. They want a growing, strong, healthy economy. During the first Trump administration, we had the best economy in my lifetime. And I know when I talk to people at home, they want affordable prices, they want good wages. That's what we had that last time, growing wages, affordable prices. We do not have that coming out of the Biden administration. People want the common sense policies that the Republicans had in the past. They want to return to that, and we are committed to getting America back on track.
Well, we just finished our Tuesday lunch where we had a really great discussion, fact-filled discussion on where we're going this week. So I want to thank our leader, John Thune, for giving us a very precise and very detailed path forward on an extremely important issue in the reconciliation package. This is going to fulfill not just the promise of what President Trump ran on and what he was elected on, energy independence, border security, national security, and then prosperity for every American family, which, as you've heard the previous two speakers, includes not letting their taxes go up, letting small businesses grow, and letting the American people decide how and where they want to spend their own money. So we look forward to this week. We are, I think, very united coming out of lunch and into this. And so I think that this week will be tough, but it will, I think, result in a very meaningful and solid future for the American people.
Sometimes it's just not hard. When I talk to folks in Oklahoma and I say, what is it you need the government to do or not do? It's pretty high on the list to say, don't raise my taxes. Prices under the Biden administration went up 20% with inflation in that 4 years. Please don't raise the taxes. Actually help our businesses to be able to grow by getting out of the way with the regulatory issues. Bring the price of gasoline and diesel down so we can actually do more production and we can get a chance to be able to travel more, secure the border, and make sure our national defense is done. That's exactly the debate that we're having right now. It's what the folks at Oklahoma have asked for over and over again. Quite frankly, Oklahoma is no different than many other nations and many other states in that way. People want to be able to see national security, border security. They want stable prices, and they want some way to be able to tell their families, here's where the government's out of the way, and we can succeed in our small businesses or grow our manufacturing and to be able to be successful. That's the focus of this week. It is the first step of multi-steps that have got to happen to be able to get this done, but we're ready to take the next step to get it done this week.
Thanks, James. Questions?
Yeah, if the parliamentarian rules that you cannot use current policy baseline to score reconciliation, will you accept that decision?
Well, we are in conversations, as you know, with the parliamentarian about the best way to get budget reconciliation we're trying to accomplish across the finish line. But we think the law is very clear. And ultimately, the Budget Committee chairman makes that determination. But obviously, we are consulting regularly with the parliamentarian on the best way to achieve the desired outcome here in the end, and that is to pass a reconciliation bill that accomplishes all the objectives that my colleagues have alluded to.
Aren't the Trump tariffs effectively raising taxes on the American people? And how are the votes, do you think, going to stack up on the Kane resolution?
Well, my expectation had been at least that we would vote on the Kane resolution today. We will see. I haven't. Are they still going on the floor? Yeah. If they're still going, that may get pushed, and we may end up voting on it tomorrow. I think all of us are anxious to see, and will wait to see what the president actually comes out with in terms of tariff policy tomorrow. But I don't think that should change people's vote on the Kane resolution. The president declared the emergency to deal with the issue of fentanyl and the flow of fentanyl into this country, not only from our southern border, but also from our northern border. That's what the emergency declaration is about. And what this would do is undo that. And I think the president needs to have tools at his disposal to deal with what I think are national emergencies, and certainly, the tens of thousands of people that are killed in this country every year because of fentanyl represents that. So I hope we'll have the votes to defeat it.
The Trump administration acknowledged that it mistakenly deported a Maryland man to El Salvador. It seems in some of these cases, some of these individuals have not been given due process. Should they change their approach in how they're dealing with these deportation cases?
Well, I think that what they are trying to do is make sure that people who are in this country illegally who have committed crimes are going back, being sent back to their home countries. And I'm not familiar with particulars of that individual case, but I'm sure we'll find out more about it. But at the end of the day, the policy objective here is clear. And I think the president is correct to make sure that people who are in this country illegally, who have been, arrested for crimes in this country, be sent back to their home country. I think that's a fairly straightforward assumption that most Americans agree with.
Senator Grassley has a bill to end nationwide injunctions. Are you going to put that on the floor for a vote?
Well, we'll see. I don't think they've marked it up yet at the Judiciary Committee. I think he intends to do that. And my understanding is at least the House is moving a similar bill, although not an identical bill. But we'll consider that. I think this explosion that we've seen in injunctions issued by district court judges that are designed to apply nationwide is a trend and a phenomenon that needs to be addressed. And I don't think that's in any way what the founders intended a district court's authority to be about. Now, obviously, that's also being appealed, and so we'll see what happens there. But if Senator Grassley gets a bill through the committee, and it looks like we have an opportunity to schedule it for the floor, we'll give it every consideration.
Senator, on the baseline.
That's it.